Hey, welcome back, my friend. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. It's that time of year again when your kids or your friends' kids or somebody you know, niece or nephew, is graduating from high school. In Michigan we do open houses. I'm not sure if that's a nationwide thing, but there's usually the gift of money. I like to give books away that I think are important, and I wanted to give a special graduate in your life this episode because I think I have some good things to say. The other thing I think is important is sometimes, especially if it's your kid, I could tell my kid something, and then one of my friends who he respects could tell the exact same thing, and he would listen to my friend before he listens to me because I'm his dad. That is just the nature of this. So if you have someone in your life who you think would benefit, send this to them. If you're getting this because your uncle or your brother or your dad sent this to you, just so you know, I'll give you a little background on myself. I'm a fireman and I'm a paramedic. I've been doing that for 25 years. And I talk to men usually on how to become better husbands, fathers, and leaders. And I've experienced some things that have given me some insight. And I would like to share that insight with you as a new graduate as you go become an adult. So the first thing, this is important. The saying is you can't steer a parked car. I want you to start moving in a direction. And you don't have to go in the right direction. There's a lot of pressure, and I remember feeling this as a young man, a lot of pressure of trying to say, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it. Now, do I want you to have a plan? Absolutely. But the goal should just be to start moving forward towards something and realize that most people, what they start college for is not the job they get. But I want you to start moving, because when you're moving, it's easy to veer right, veer left, back and forth. You just can't move a parked car. I had a few friends of mine that got out of high school, didn't know what they wanted to do, and they didn't really do anything heading towards the goal. Now, some of them got jobs that were just kind of dead-end jobs. Maybe some of them got jobs that paid really well, but it's not really what they wanted to do at all, and they just said, I'm going to be an adult starting from here. The ones that did the best, maybe they got crappy jobs, but it was in a job that they were interested in the future, or maybe they could work by someone or next to somebody. They started moving. I will say this, I'm a big fan of education. I think education is super important. College doesn't need to be it. The trade schools and the certificates are all awesome and are definitely places you can go, but I want you to start moving in a direction. You can't steer a parked car. And when you're moving in that direction, especially if you have no idea what you want out of life, I want you to figure that out for as little money as possible. There is an epidemic, and I use that word specifically, of the student loan crisis or epidemic, whatever you want to call it, is so real. The amount of friends that I am 45 years old, and I know people my age who are still paying off student loans. And what's really sad is some of them don't have degrees, and some of them aren't doing the job that they went to school for. Now, I want you to go to college. I want you to get a degree. But until you can narrow it down, do it for as cheaply as possible. So what are the ways you can do that? Internships and community college. An internship could pay you. So instead of going to college right away, let's say, hey, or maybe before you go to college, you have the summer off before you're going to college next year, and you really want to be a lawyer, go get a job at a law firm. Maybe even volunteer your time. If your parents are cool with you just saying, hey, you can stay here for free, maybe they can't afford to help you with college, but they'll give you a place to sleep or a place to eat and food to eat, let's try that again. They will give you a place to sleep and food to eat. Go intern somewhere for free. Say you want to be a movie producer. Go to your local TV station and say, I don't want to make any money. I just want to see what you do. Can I come here and work for free? Now, it'd be cool to get paid. And if you're, valuable and you bring value, you can. But internships are a way. Job shadowing. My son he'll be a senior this coming up year. And I am going to reach out to my network, which is just a fancy word for friends, and say, hey, can he come and work with you as a financial planner, as an IT guy, as a salesman? I'm going to go down the list and just have him spend a day or two. It amazes me the amount of people that go to school for something that they never even experimented with, never even tried. I went to EMT school because I wanted to be a fireman and a paramedic, and that was the first step, with a guy who had just graduated from the University of Michigan, probably an $80,000 education to be a doctor. he was studying for the MCAT, the doctor entrance exam, and doing EMT, which is it was a 6-week academy style class, realized I hate being around sick people. Well, that's nuts. Like, why on earth would you have spent that long without going and doing a little bit of medicine? Very intelligent guy, like super smart. I'm sure he'll do fine. And I don't want to say he wasted 4 years, but he could have spent his 4 years doing something that led him towards what he actually wanted if he had spent his freshman year going to EMT school, or at least working at a doctor's office. So, say yes to as many opportunities as possible, which is my next point. So, keep moving forward, figure out what you want to do cheaply, and say yes to opportunities. As long as the opportunity is not unethical, immoral, say yes. If there's a new club, say yes. If there is a trip that you could go on and volunteer on, say yes. Now, if you fast forward your life and you're in your 30s and 40s, I changed my recommendation to say no most of the time and only say yes to things that are, line up with your priorities. But when you're a younger person, say yes. If someone says, hey, would you like to try, maybe not drugs. Now, don't say yes to everything. If someone said, hey, would you like to try this new job? Would you like to try this opportunity? Would you like to join this club? Say yes. Because saying yes is going to lead you to the most important asset that you can acquire in this time of life. And that is your network. And networking is just a fancy business word for friends. I want you to go make friends. One of the benefits of going to a very expensive Ivy League school, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, any of these big schools, is the people you meet also know other people. The reason why you might get a $400,000 finance job on Wall Street is because your roommate's dad owns a firm if you went to this fancy college. Like, those are the benefits. You don't need to go to a fancy college to make that happen, because lots of people are very successful going to normal state-run universities and even community colleges. But one of your goals while being there should be to increase your network. And when in the business world, when people say network, they mean like contacts, like who's in this business, who's in this business. And a little bit, I understand that, but I really want you to actually just make friends. The opportunities that I've received in my life, the big ones, came because of friends. The financial decisions that I've made came because I had a friend who had done what I wanted to do, and I asked to take them out to lunch, and they gave me a master class and do this, then do this, then do this. And my life has been blessed financially. My life has been blessed physically from knowing trainers. My life has been good because of my network. My dad is great at this. He'll meet somebody, and then he friends them on Facebook or gets their phone number, and he'll stay in contact with them for years after meeting him one time. And the amount of doors that have been open are immense. One of the issues I see a lot on social media is people are getting out of college, they have this degree, and then they're going to apply to these organizations, and all the organizations want them to have 3 to 5 years of experience. And the frustration is, I have a degree, which is one requirement, and how do I get 3 to 5 years of experience if you won't give me a job? Well, a lot of times that 3 to 5 years of experience is a way of weeding people out. If you go to apply for a job and the hiring manager is the parent of someone you went to college with, that 3 to 5 years, that can get skewed a little bit because they know you. The 3 to 5 years of experience lets them know that you're capable of doing the job and that you have the ability to learn. If they can learn that because they're your friend or one of your friends can vouch for you, that's how you get jobs. You can get a job because you're highly qualified. That's definitely a possibility, but it's way easier to be just qualified, not just highly qualified, and know somebody. I really like one of the aspects of my life is I lived a very, very diverse life. I know some people who have $1 million homes on lakes and have their own boat, and I know some people who are dirt poor, have been to jail, and I'm very thankful and blessed for that. And by knowing all those different people, my life has been blessed. I've got a friend, he's had a rough life. He was working security at a haunted house, and the line was immense, way down the road. And he walked over, and I saw him, and I gave him a hug. He gave me a hug, and everything's good. He's like, is this your kids? I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in my kids. He's like, come with me. We walked to the front of the line. It was awesome. The amount of people that can get you to the front of the line, that pool of people that you have, that is going to directly correlate to your wealth, to your position at work. So go out, experience life, make lots of friends. And not just like, I don't want you to like curate like, oh, your parents don't have, they're not a CEO of a company, so therefore you're not going to be your friend. You don't know who's going to do what, where they're going to be. And in addition, just to having friends is awesome. And they truly can open up the doors for you. So keep moving forward. Keep saying yes. Get those opportunities, as many as possible. Get your direction, get your plan as quickly, or not, how do you say quickly, as cheaply as possible. Make lots of friends. Which brings me to my very last point. Once you find what you want to do, you've made the plan, you think you know the right direction, maybe you spent a couple years doing it, I want you to clearly be able to articulate the investment and the benefit you'll get from that investment. It's graduation season, so lots of graduation and social media, and the guy is interviewing people from Columbia, and one of the guys he interviews is like, what are you graduating with? He's cap and gown on, he goes, my master's in acting. And he's like, awesome, what kind of job? What's the earning potential of that? He's like, well, it could be really high if I'm lucky. Luck should not be part of your equation on an investment. It'd be like me saying, hey, invest in this company. Well, how much is it going to pay me? Well, for lucky, it's going to be, $1 million a year. Before you invest the money, so let's call it $80,000, which is what a college education could be. If I asked you to give me $80,000, you would want to know how much it pays, when it's going to return, what are the other options we can do with the money, as opposed to like, it's going to be great, trust me, if we're lucky. Don't risk that much money if you're going to pay for your education on luck. Go figure out what the current job market is. Talk to people who are doing it. Put a little bit of time into it, and then invest the money. Now, I would love for you to cash flow it and be able to pay for it, and it is possible. You can cash flow college, totally possible. You don't have any debt when you come out, even if your parents don't support you. That is possible. It's hard, it's challenging, it's a lot of work, but it's possible. But if you're going to go borrow some money, you better make sure that the benefit and the risk all balance out. So thank you for listening to this. If someone sent this to you, that person cares for you a lot. They're a smart person, they're educated, they want what's best for you. So if they're giving you advice, listen. Keep asking for advice. Keep asking for help. If you like this, what I said, I talk a lot about these types of things, not necessarily to graduates, but to men who are trying to become better husbands and fathers, leaders. If that's something you want to do eventually, please follow, like, share, give me a review. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title Podcast, and I will talk to you later.